In this video, we're going to talk about why your animation might suck. Okay, so to preface, I'm not a professional animator, I'm not an amazing animator, I'm an aspiring animator myself, but these are things that I've noticed about animations I've looked at while studying and trying to figure out how to be a better animator that you could try and improve with your animations. This is not a list of the 12 principles of animations and everything like that. Link to that in the description because those are great things to know, but for the purposes of this video, these are 5 things I've noticed about animations I've seen over time that really could improve some animations that I've seen to the next level. Starting with number 1, you didn't use reference. It's kind of, common, it's kind of obvious, but you would be so surprised how often people think they know how a thing moves, think they know how a thing looks, think they know how a thing interacts with other things, and they just take that for granted and run with it. And at the end of the day, they start with one thing and they thought they were going towards another, and those just didn't end up overlapping. You need to use reference for everything that you do, whether it be a drawing, a sculpture, an animation, whatnot. If you didn't use reference of some kind, even if it's just yourself doing a thing that you don't ever really do, it's at least a person doing that thing or some simulation of the thing you're trying to animate that you can get a reference to work off of. Number 2, you did too well. Or put more accurately, you were too accurate. If you did correct me on the fact that I said too well instead of too accurate, this may be a thing that you're doing. I've seen this time and time again. Someone just looks for that perfect replication of reality. I got it exactly right. I rotated the object just the right number of times, and I bounced it just the exact amount of height that I needed to bounce that bouncy ball. Yes, you may have been perfectly accurate with your animation, but you know what that kind of is? Boring? That's kind of boring, right? I mean, if I wanted to just watch a bouncy ball like bounce on the floor, I would do that. I do that, 100 times a day with my toddler sometimes. It's not the most interesting thing to watch. It doesn't give a lot of sense of character to the thing that you're animating. It's okay to put a little bit of extra expression into whatever you happen to be animating, and often enough that will mean it won't be 100% accurate. It will be a little bit off. Third thing that you may have in your animations making them suck is you didn't convey a sense of feeling. That's right, animation is about motion, motion and acting. Acting is giving a sense of expression, some form of feeling. If a person is swinging a weapon, they have to have some reason to be swinging that weapon. Convey the feeling as to why they're doing that thing. If a person is throwing a pitch, throwing a baseball, they have some effort they're exerting into that moment. If someone is cowering because they're scared, have a sense of fear. You don't even need to necessarily have an expression on their face. If you're doing pixel art animation, you won't even have the number of pixels you need for that kind of expression on a face, but you can still get the motion to convey a feeling in that character. Number 4 on this list, and probably one that happens more often than the others, is you didn't add a sense of weight to the action, to the event. So often you'll have these extremely large characters acting on various things, and it feels like they're just moving large objects effortlessly. Like they end up stopping on a dime, they end up just changing directions really fast. It doesn't feel like they actually have to balance. Often enough in still imagery that doesn't look like the character that you're drawing standing is standing in a way that would not topple over. The concept still applies in animation, especially in animation, really, because if this giant object is moving, it has to be able to stop itself. And when it stops itself, you have to accommodate the fact that it's a giant object. It's a thing that has weight and has like structure. And when you land on whatever feet this thing has, it has to be able to catch itself and recoil. And the principle of squash and stretch is an exaggeration of this concept of everything in the world has weight and has to take time or animation frames to stop itself and change directions. Conversely, if it's a light thing, then it needs to be able to convey the fact that it's light and bouncy and moves around easily. If it bumps into something, it bounces off those things rather than pushing them. If you add weight to your objects, to your characters, to everything like that, it just makes them feel more tangible and feel like they exist more in a real world. And number 5 on this list is really the biggest thing that will always plague every animator and every artist ever, is that you just stopped working on it. Like at the end of the day, you probably could have added something more to that animation or that other creative work that you made, and eventually you have to let it go, whether it be because of a deadline or because of you had to move on to something else or you have a schedule to keep or things like that. Or you've just been staring at it for, I don't know, 20 hours, 30 hours, like an entire month. Who knows? You do have to stop working on it, and it doesn't make it officially suck, but you have to kind of find the balance between when am I officially happy with this piece and when am I just trying to get rid of it. So that's my 5 reasons that your animation might suck, and you should probably check yourself on it just in case any one of those applies. Leave a comment down below if you have anything you want to say to me about other things that you've noticed in animations that people tend to screw up that may make their animation suck. I'll keep doing what I'm doing and working on my projects, and hopefully you guys are still working on yours. But until next time, have fun and keep working.